So it went to the right platform, right? It went to this particular platform. So if I refresh this, I should be able to see that something is live. Come here. Okay, so it's live. Well, why is this one not live? Okay, there we go. It took like 4 nanoseconds for it to go live. So, new managing moderator can support your channel in every. Okay, get out of there. Okay, so start sharing. I can share with you guys, right, to see what I'm doing. So that is how you are able to do it, right? So let me see. Okay, good. So you will notice that there is a latency. The meaning of latency is the amount of time that it will take a particular video to reach the destination, right? So let's say, a particular event is happening right now. So it will not be exactly what the person is saying that will be on the live stream. It will take either 5 nanoseconds, right? With the latency, it's going to take some time when it comes to latency. Okay, so guys, click the link and see what is happening, right? And see what is happening on the stream. Okay, so click on the link. I sent it to you guys. I wish it was a in-person event. You could have seen me switching between cameras and see how nice it is to switch between 2 cameras. Is so much interesting to do that. Any question for me? Are you guys clicking the link? Okay, so I'm gonna do the screen display and see. Hopefully they don't even block the content. Right, the sound is not on, but anyways, the video is there. Okay, so what is your feedback? Did anybody, okay, 3 people is watching. That means to say that, so you see, even if on our OBS we have Trevor Noah on the OBS, now it came on the YouTube, right? So there's always a latency. Well, the good thing is that, so Jerry, you see that it's easy to do the screen recording or the screen sharing, right? So that is how you are able to do that. Yeah, it's pretty much clean. Yeah, it's clean. Let me see.
So, but I don't think, well, yeah, but I think when you say a good problem, you're already saying the problem part, no? I think if somebody said that to me, I would not take it well.
Okay,
I'd
there
be
we
like,
go.
you do not get to decide for me what my good
Oh,
problem
no,
is.
then we're on the same page. Okay, no. Then
As
we're
long as you're
completely...
because sometimes there's like this,
Yes.
you have to embrace humility. you have to like.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
But do you think so? Are you suggesting that fame means somehow that fame corrupts art?
So I think what happens oftentimes is fame interferes with how art can be perceived. That's what I think it does, right? So I'll speak through the lens of, let's say, stand-up comedy alone. Any comedian who's like worth their salt will tell you the difference in how an audience perceives a perspective or a joke when the comedian is famous is very different. Because now they're not listening to what you're saying. They're trying to listen to it through the lens of them having a perception or an idea of who you are and where you are in relation to them. So they don't go funny, not funny, insightful, not insightful. They'll go, that's stupid for you. And I'm like, what do you mean that's stupid for me? If I would have told that joke 10 years ago, or I like that style of joke. And they'll be like, yeah, but come on, you're Trevor Noah. And I'm like, no, you see, that's where I feel like you're making the mistake.
It's like if you make a joke about traffic, people are like, well, you can get a helicopter, which I often say.
Exactly. You love saying that. You love saying that. No, but I mean, I think of it like, you know, and sometimes we only afford this to artists, for instance, let's say actual painters when they're dead. I love how much gravitas is awarded to, let's say, Picasso for a random napkin sketch. People are like, oh, look at this Picasso sketch. And you're like, guys, it's like a stick figure. Yes, but even in it, you can see it harkens to his view of the world. I'm like, guys, the guy was just sketching on a napkin. Yes, but it was Picasso's sketch. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about it?
About fame, I don't think about it really. I mean, but here's why. I think of fame, and it's such a strange thing. I don't even know what to do with my face when I'm saying, I think of fame. But it's kind of like to... I don't know, honestly, just think, but it's just... I don't think of... I think that when I'm writing fiction, because that's, for me, there are distinctions in what I do and in how much they mean to me. So fiction is the thing I love. Like, I really think it's my vocation. I think it's the reason I'm here. I really believe that. I really believe that I have an ancestral gift. So with fiction, nothing else matters. When I'm writing, I don't remember that I'm supposed to be this famous person when I'm writing fiction. When I'm done writing fiction and I'm editing it and someone else is sort of, there's an editor looking over it, that's when I sometimes have to think about audience. But even then, I almost never change anything. Because for me, fiction is almost, it's sacrosanct. I don't think about my audience. It's truly almost magical, honestly. But the other things, I can tell when people are bullshitting me, when people say, I love your work. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. Right? You actually don't. But
have you told anyone that?
Some, yes.
Good, I love that.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
That is the most Nigerian thing I've ever come across.
She's a real Igbo woman.
No, I mean, I'm sitting next to, this is like, wow.
It's too much for them.
No, I mean, this is amazing.
But I think it can be a good thing, right? For someone, and usually it's my wonderful Nigerians. Oh, Chimamanda, I love your work. And so I said to him once, I was like, which one have you read? He said, I've read them. I said, which one have you read? He's like, the one about Biafra. I said, okay, what happened in it? So he starts laughing. And then he tells me, I'll read it. And then when it's people, when it's non-Nigerians, usually I can tell, but then I'm slightly gentler because, sometimes non-Nigerians don't know how to handle the sort of Nigerian directness.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think in general, because I want it to be read, I've always wanted to be read. And I really do feel very grateful. You know how you said people have to say that, but I am actually quite grateful to be read. But I think fame was never a thing that I sought.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways also because I'm not on social media, because I sometimes I'm still surprised. I'm just like, oh, so that person actually knows me. So I'm not, it doesn't occupy me.
Was that an intentional choice to not be on social media?
Yes.
What was it?
Self-preservation.
Huh.
So not in a high-minded way, by the way. Just because I know that I will get into fights with people and it will not end well. So I thought...
So you're the person you would reply if somebody @s you and says something
I
you
would
don't like.
find where you lived and come to your house.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
That's how Christiana
I'd love to tell
and
the
I...
story. It's crazy. When Trevor first got his job at The Daily Show, he had a guest on that I didn't agree with, that I thought he shouldn't have had it. I stand by that.
Uh-huh.
And
Does this guest have a name, perhaps?
Yeah, Tommy Loren.
Yeah.
And it was like a super viral interview, and there was lots of reactions. And credit to Trevor, he came across tweets where I was critical of him in a very respectful way, I think. I wasn't
how you were critical?
Not critical. I was just discussing. I was discussing the fact that he'd had this guest on his show, and because he disagreed with me, he followed me. He was just like, I don't think she's right, because he stands by why he had the interview, which I love about him, and someone reached out to me, was like, oh, Trevor Noah's a fan. Do you want to, what have you thought about working at the show? And the Nigerian in me was like, this man is trying to trick me and tell me off. That's the first thing I told my parents. I was like, I got this email. I think this man is trying to trick me and he's holding a grudge because I said he shouldn't have that girl on the show. But there was like that.
No, but I see why though.
Yeah.
I understand that.
But we engaged in a few conversations where he was like, you've made me think I don't necessarily agree. We had a few exchanges, not disrespectful ones, but like, Trevor's very kumbaya. But I'm a child of Biafra, so I always want to fight. So there's that, I think there's that, not tension, but we bring different things to how we approach
it's
things.
Completely great. I think like what I connected with you on was most important for me is like, and you know this, even till this day, I don't care about agreeing with people, but I love a well-structured argument. I love an idea that makes me think.
Yeah.
And then something for me to butt up again. I actually find it boring when people all hang out in a group and agree with each other. I personally think we're losing a lot of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like we live in a world now where we go, I don't agree with you, so it's finished.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, but guys, if I was to get rid of everyone in my life who I didn't agree with on an issue, I would have no one in my life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, this is a gospel that needs to be preached more in America.
Do you want your videos to look like this? Well, in just 14 days, we've taught all these people how to do it. Our program, 14-Day Filmmaker, only costs $48, and it's taught over 16,000 aspiring filmmakers how to develop their skills and start their career on YouTube or as freelance filmmakers, shooting weddings, commercials, music videos, or even short films. The problem with learning on YouTube is that it's disorganized. You're not given practice exercises that turn theory into skills. They're usually using super expensive camera gear, and don't even get me started on trying to learn how to edit. Now, don't get me wrong, it's possible, but it's gonna take a long time to do it. What if I could take the next 18 months of your life and streamline all of that learning into just 14 days? I know it sounds impossible, but that's exactly what our program 14-Day Filmmaker does. It's 14 days of straightforward, easy to understand video trainings taught by professional filmmakers with daily practice exercises to help you turn theory into skill. You can start with any camera, even your cell phone, and you will be blown away by the results. It doesn't stop at just 14 days though. You get lifetime access to over 100 videos in total. You can join our private community with weekly live Q&A calls where you can ask professional filmmakers questions and get answers right then and there. You get 60% off pro editing software like Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects, which is $380 a year in savings alone. That's almost 8 times what our course costs, by the way. Now, you're probably wondering, is this for real? There must be some hidden fee or scam because all of the other programs out there like this literally cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Well, it really is real, and we have over 16,000 happy students that are very glad they joined.
You think in America particularly?
Yes.
Tell me
This is
more.
not the case in Nigeria, for example, and I would argue in most of Africa. People know that you can disagree with a person and still have a relationship with them. I think what's happening in the US is a kind of, this kind of practice of purity, this kind of, you have to have these particular views, otherwise, and then the moralizing of opinion. So somebody feels a certain way about something. It's not just that you think they're wrong, it's that you think that they're bad people. And I think that moralizing then means like, because you think this way, you're a bad person and I cannot talk to you and you cannot be in my life.
Yeah.
I think it's a particularly American thing. I really think so. And it's quite contemporary. I mean, it's recent. I came to the US in 97. I don't think America was like that when I came to the US. I think it's recent.
Do you find it like that?
Well, I came to America in 2014, and I say this a lot, and maybe I'm coming from like a Western lens of being in the UK and communicating with my friends in the UK. I think in the UK also people are wearing their politics more, or whatever their label of whatever you identify as, whether Republican, Democrat, socialist, or whatever. And that is being at the front of a conversation in a way that is tainting how you can experience a person in real life.
Yeah.
In a way that I didn't feel when I first came to America.
When you first came.
Really?
When I first came, yeah. Because remember, I came when Obama was still in power.
You're not wrong, actually.
Yeah, when I came at the tail end of Obama, everyone assumed Hillary would win.
Yeah.
And to be a Trump voter was a very quiet thing. I mean, we only discovered there were so many voters when the guy won. Because it was just those red hat people over there. You never thought it was the people around you. And I think there became this scrutiny after Trump won. Like, did you vote for him? Did you vote for him? I think you voted for him. Like that suspicion.
Yeah.
Or people who weren't in active mourning that Hillary wasn't president. And then it changed the timbre of our interactions in a way that I don't think we've recovered from or gone back to. And I think that's even deepened now in his second term.
And I always try and grapple with this. I try and figure out, especially now because I spend more time in South Africa than I've done over the past 10 years. So when I was doing The Daily Show, most of my life was just in America, and in the US, I couldn't really leave much. And now I get to spend more time going back to South Africa and traveling around. And one of the biggest things I've realized is in America, more than most places I've been to, people wear their politics as their culture. But where I'm from, your culture is your culture.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So no one would dare say where I'm from, I am a Republican or I am. No. I'm Xhosa, I'm Zulu, I'm Tswana, I'm Pedi.
But that's also because our politics in Africa is not ideological, though.
Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
But it's not, though. Is there in South Africa a party that you could say is on the left and on the right and in the center, based on their policies?
Now, I know it sounds crazy, but because of Trump, they're emerging in some ways. But previously, there wasn't. Let's put it this way. All the major parties in South Africa will have very similar promises or ideals. They just have differences on how they believe they're going to get there. So most of them wouldn't argue that healthcare is a right. They all go like, no, everyone should have healthcare and there should be free education. But then they'll argue about the permutations of how to get there. And I think that, in agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about I think that this kind of polarization, even that word I don't like, I think it preceded Trump.
Interesting.
I think Trump made it worse. But do you,
I think it was, I felt it with Trump.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a result of like the bubble I was in myself.
Yeah.
I just think we're in a time where people feel really defensive about what they believe. And there's not much space for negotiation.
I felt a lot of that reading your book.
Which we actually read, by the way.
You did read it.
Yeah,
I
we read
loved it. I loved it so
Read
much.
it.
Oh, I loved your work. Your book was fantastic. I loved it.
I love that one you just did.
No, I read it. Cover to cover. This is how much I read it. I remember the first 50 pages. I thought it was like a memoir. I know this is crazy to you. Please don't get me wrong. I opened and I was like, oh, is this like your nickname? And are you telling me your real story? No, I'm being serious. And then I started Googling your father. I was like, oh, I knew he did statistics. I didn't know that he was this mega rich person. And I was like,
she's owed money.
I was like,
we
I was
can put
why
like
do I not
anything we
know
want,
about
right?
this person that is now changing how I see this? And I'm reading the book, and nothing that I'm Googling is coming together.